Let's talk. Talk about the things that mean so much to you and me. Let's talk.
And here's your host, Henry Benefield.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting program of Let's Talk. As usual, we always have exciting and interesting guests, and in the continuation, we promise to stay focused on that subject. Exciting and interesting guests. Today we're going to talk about cultural arts and all the different diversity things, especially in this region. These particular guests are international as well as locally based in the city of Cincinnati. I know a lot of you are looking either online or from the surrounding communities, Indianapolis, as far as Dayton and Middletown, all those different places. But this should, this should spark your interest in developing some of the better cultures in your area as well. So again, thank you so much for your emails. Thank you for all the excitement and all this other kind of stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But let's get to our guest today. First of all, my first guest, I have three guests on the program today. I keep saying, I almost said panel, because the last time we had this show, it was a panel. But on the show today, we're just going to sit in my little comfortable setting and just talk about the cultural arts, the many, many, many forms that are available from these artists, and let you know what's going on. Also, some of the things to inspire some of the young people to take up on those gifts and talents that they have. My first guest, she is international. She's writing a book. I'm going to let her expound a little bit on it, but I want to welcome her to Let's Talk, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy her. I'm going to introduce her and each one of my guests individually, but first let me welcome Dr. Sally B. Sedgwick. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. And then sitting right next to her is a gentleman that a lot of you people probably already know. He's an individual fashion designer. He's an individual jewelry designer. He's a photographer. I mean, he is just really one of the most talented and one of the hidden jewels in the city of Cincinnati. We're very honored to have him here on the program today because of his originality and uniqueness and working with young people in class and things like that. Mr. Damon Butler of Nomad Productions. Mr. Butler, welcome.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure to have you.
Likewise.
And then sitting to your left, which is my right, is another well-renowned artist. She's international, shown from places as far as Europe and other countries in her artwork. I mean, her genre of styles of artists is just amazing. And I'm excited. I personally own a piece of her work, and that was one of the reasons I took an opportunity to invite her here today. She is, I think she's out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about it as we get into the segment when we're speaking to her. But please welcome my other guest, Mrs. Mary Barr Rhodes. Mary, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Henry.
It is such a pleasure to have you. Well, everybody, you know, we're talking about arts and things like that, and you know, I always tell folks, you know, want to jump in and talk about different things and let people know different perspectives. But I first want to start off, if you guys don't mind, with Sally. Tell us a little bit about who you are. You do have a new book that's going to be coming out, and we'll get to where they'll be able to get that book. But let's talk a little bit. One of the reasons I invited you, because in your field, we had a discussion. You were so interesting, and I felt that there was a lot of information and a lot of excitement that you would cause to our guests to be introduced to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I tell some people collect stamps, I collect degrees, so I've had some experience both with theater and theology. Mm-hmm. And as part of that, I've worked with both the National Episcopal Church and the National Lutheran Church. Mm-hmm. But then it became time for myself, and I've created something called Spirit Moxie. Wow. Which is about the little things we can do together to change the world, to make it a better place. And right now, that's mainly a website and a Facebook page. There's occasional articles on that.
Sure.
And little things I call random signs and little pictures that shows how this is happening among us and things we can do.
Well, so tell us a little bit about it. What does that mean to someone who's not familiar with the term?
Well, this leads into the book, actually, because it wasn't really familiar. And do you know, when you say if only everybody did this, the world would be a better place?
Sure.
The classic example is smile, which we seem to have right down here. If everybody smiled at each other, for example, but everyone will complete that differently. And it started with like 100 things, and now there's more than 100.
Wow.
But the book just focuses on 10 of them.
Wow, wow. And that's an interesting topic. Smile. Explain to us how just smiling can make a difference or not smiling can make a difference.
Well, one of the stories I tell, I mean, it's just a little story.
Okay.
There was a day I was just feeling sort of dumpy.
Sure.
And I was going to the parking lot, and there was a kid wrangling the shopping carts, and he flashed me this smile, and all of a sudden I was interesting, sexy, attractive. I mean, I don't know how one smile can do that, but try it. Walk down the street and smile at people that look like they're having a horrible, no good day.
Wow.
Or little kids when their mother isn't looking, and it's amazing how people will light up.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
turns them around.
Wow. Have you experienced that, Mr. Butler?
Yes, I have. Especially, I live over the Rhine, and even walking down
Yep.
Main Street,
Yep.
where I used to live, it's amazing. Just walking to work some days, speaking and smiling to people
Sure.
that maybe their mind is somewhere else, or they've got something on their mind that's weighing heavy, and just for that second, you'll see a little light that
Wow.
you didn't see before,
Yep.
Wow.
which is amazing. That gesture can turn around somebody's day.
And something so simple.
Very simple.
Wow.
And it's
but
free.
powerful.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to smile.
That's true.
You know.
But something so simple but so powerful.
Yes.
We think about, and I guess, Mary, you can jump in on this, about changing the world. I know that you have had experience with young people. You've instructed art, and we're going to talk to you a little bit more in detail about your particular projects that you have going on. But, expounding on what Sally has said, have you found that kind of thing works for you as well?
Absolutely. In fact, I want to take a moment to talk about, my mother had Alzheimer's, and so there was no past, no future. She wasn't worried, but it was most important to engage her in the moment.
Wow.
And I think that was a great lesson that she gave me.
Okay.
Just to enjoy this moment. And I have to take this moment to say, Damone would come up, and my mother would just be beaming.
Wow.
Because she got to see Damone, because he would smile at her and talk to her and engage her.
Sure.
All of us want to be engaged in life.
Wow. And I know your name is Mr. Butler. Certainly, is it okay to call you Damone?
Sure.
Okay, good. How powerful that is, because I think in general society, it can be such a negative place, having to deal with life itself and all the circumstances that surround life, and driving and angry drivers, or things don't go your way and the people are not. So what you're simply saying, I have the power to change, almost like the atmosphere?
Yes.
So I'm waiting for you guys to jump in there, because I
And
think
that's just one.
Sure.
That's just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some other ones?
Oh, I'm trying to think of the ones in the book. I've been working on it so long I forget them.
And that is that's such a powerful one right there.
Oh, it is.
Another one, there's a combination of things. There are things that you sort of do that are general. There are things like not littering, to be litter-free, as I put it in the book.
Not litter in reference to trash or
Yes.
containing
Yes.
litter within you.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to sound educated, right?
Yes. I mean, it started with the physical trash piece.
Okay.
But it goes deeper than that. It
Wow.
absolutely does. You're right on that.
But what are, now that we've jumped from the smile to the trash, what are some of the things that can be considered? Well, I just thought about it. I could think of 5,000 things that's physical litter that you shouldn't contain.
One of the analogies is to think of litter as weeds. It is something that is where it doesn't belong.
Ooh.
A rose in a cornfield is a weed.
Ooh. Ooh. Smell good. So you can get sweet and delicious. That's
It still be litter. It can still be litter. It can still be litter. Sorry about that.
and excuse me. The simple fact of someone understanding, I may be here for the moment with this kind of an attitude, but I have the tools available that now I can selectively change not only my attitude, but my aptitude as well by smiling. And most of the time, I can attest that when you smile to someone, 95% of the time they do smile back. And you say, good morning. I remember back in the day, good morning, how are you? And people just like would be very friendly. But today, are we passing by each other, not acknowledging that we're regular folks or you're a human being or something? I'm sorry, Sam.
People acknowledge me.
I think a lot of times, especially in a walking neighborhood, a lot of times I'll encounter people that are on their cell phones, texting people, they're not present, and they don't make eye contact with each other as much as they used to before, cell phones. Not that cell phones are bad, but it's just a different mindset a lot of times that text is more important than making human contact with each other, which is interesting. I was walking the other day home from the library, and a lady almost walked into me. She was busy texting somebody or doing something on her phone, and then just happened to look up as she's, almost walking into me. And I'm trying to gauge where she's going so I don't walk into her.
Sure.
But it's even interesting, the one lady, I forget where it was, but she was texting and was in the mall and walked into a fountain and ended up trying to sue the mall because she walked into the fountain. And they were like, well, ma'am, the fountain didn't move. The fountain's been there for years. So you chose to, and they have it on
To
camera.
be disconnected.
To be disconnected and not be present, and to be aware of your surroundings. It's a big thing.
Mary, what are we missing as human beings by not having something as simple as smiling at people? What are we missing?
Well, the connection with humanity. And I think some people possibly might even shy away from that. And when you're tied up on the cell phone or the text, it's easy just to stay right there and not pay attention. But the reality, most of us really do enjoy being smiled at and being acknowledged, saying good morning. So I think it's really important that we do take that moment to connect with others while we're here on this earth. That's part of our job.
And it's okay.
Absolutely, it's okay.
It's
more than okay. It's needed. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. Well, this is some of the subjects that you have in your book. So when is the book scheduled to be released?
We're hoping for around June. There was a slight problem with the copy editing, but that's under control now. And it'll be available through Amazon, or any bookstore can order it for you. And it will also be available as an ebook.
And what's the title?
Moxie Moves, 10 Easy Ways to Make a Powerful Difference.
Let's say that one more time.
Moxie Moves,
10
easy ways to make a powerful difference.
To make a powerful difference. You got started on this because did you feel that there was a lack of information to people that wanted to make a difference? Or how did you actually get started on particular?
Part of it is I'm lazy. And I really think things should be easy. And so that was part of it. Part of it was that I'd really fallen in love with the idea of Spirit Moxie, which has been around for about 6 years now.
Sure. Now, what is Spirit Moxie for my guests?
It's about this, but it's a website, spiritmoxie.com, and a Facebook page, which is Spirit Moxie. And the importance of wanting to make a difference, realizing that if only everybody were polite, which isn't really one of the variations on that, just the world just works better. And it starts snowballing, like your example of your mother with the smiling. So that's sort of the impetus behind all that. And people get confused about how it all works, and that was the reason for the book.
Wow. Wow. And so the tip is 10 simple ways.
Easy ways.
To make a difference.
Yep. Easy way to make a powerful difference.
Wow. And I'm just imagining, when you speak about litter, physical litter, that you have, all negativity. I could go on and on and on. Self-centeredness, things that hinder us from being free. And I'm pretty sure everyone would agree we should all be free to love without a whole bunch of stuff. Well, they don't like me because of this, or I feel I'm to this, or whatever. All of the litter that confounds us to be able to be filled with so much stuff rather than being free. We agree?
We agree.
Yeah, we agree.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Well, we're looking forward to it. You said scheduled to be released
I'm hoping around June.
around June. And it's going to be available at what stores again?
Well, you can order it through Amazon. That's probably the easiest.
Okay, and the title one more time.
Moxie Moves.
Moxie Moves. So you guys have got to keep an eye out for that. 10
Easy ways to make a powerful difference.
Wow, 10 easy ways to make a powerful difference. Someone was saying that, and I want our viewers to understand that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to make a difference. When you have people, great leaders, Indira Gandhi, Martin Luther King, I could go on, Jesus, all the different ones that have invoked what they had to do as far as an individual, it made a difference. It wasn't 5,000 people. It was that one, Alexander Graham Bell, one person had an idea. Look at, Bill Gates, look at what they've done. One person, so you definitely want to be able to have an impact individually and not necessarily looking for the collective to make a difference in the world, and know that you as an individual can make a difference. Do we agree?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. All right, sitting next to Sally is a gentleman that is, as I said earlier, pretty phenomenal gentleman. He is an artist in many categories. And I want him to just kind of tell what he does. If you notice all of this exquisite jewelry that is on Miss Sally Barr Rhodes, and he is wearing as well. As a matter of fact, some of the outfits, the outfit that he's wearing is an original design as well. And I would like for him to give us a little bit more on you. First of all, who is Damon Butler?
Well, first of all, I'm a child of God, beyond anything else. But I design clothing and jewelry. And I originally started designing for myself. I was being selfish. And I couldn't find stuff that I liked for myself.
Wow.
So I thought, well, if you can't find something, why not make it yourself? Which I did. And then I would wear those items out and about. And my friends would ask, well, who made that? And I said, well, I made that.
Wow.
Well, and I told everybody not to tell anybody because I didn't want to produce anything for anybody else. And my friends would say, oh, I'd make them pieces and they would tell other people. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to tell nobody. Because other people would be like, well, can you make me something? And my first thought was, no, I can't. But it got to the point that I decided, why not share the love and make stuff for other people as well. So now it's turned into a business, which I hadn't expected it to. But sometimes God's plan is different from our plan.
Amen.
So you have to sort of not let him be the passenger, but let him drive. And, I've done that, and he's taken me in directions that I didn't think I would ever go. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. This is what I've trained for all my life to do. So now that I'm doing it, it's like the Olympics.
Wow.
Either put up or shut up. So it's all good though.
Wow.
Yeah, I love what I do. Even if I didn't get paid to do what I do, I would still do it. So the payment is nice. I tell people, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said that, what I do is sort of mashed potatoes, and all the other people that like my stuff are sort of the gravy, or the the cheese, or the the chives, or the
Whatever
sour
flavor you want.
cream, whatever else you want to put on the mashed potatoes. It just sort of adds to the flavor of my purpose.
Wow.
So
Originally, you're not from Cincinnati.
I'm not from Detroit, Michigan, originally. Hamtramck, to be exact. But then we moved to Detroit. Moved here when I was, we moved to Beckley, West Virginia when I was in the 3rd grade. And I lived there for a while. Went to the military, came back and moved to Charleston, West Virginia. Was there for a while, went to school there, went to college there, graduated, and had a dream that I lived in Cincinnati.
Wow.
On that Monday night, I had a dream and went to work Tuesday morning, quit my job, and bought a one-way Greyhound bus ticket to Cincinnati.
Wow.
Put my stuff that was in my home into storage and moved here, caught the bus Friday, and moved here. And that was in 1998.
Wow.
And was homeless for 8 months. So, yeah, I stayed in the, I moved in with a friend of mine that lived here. And the night that I got here, we went to a restaurant. Some stuff went down. He had to go take care of some legal stuff. And the place where we were staying, I had to vacate. So he called me from the legal place that he was at and told me how to get to a shelter. Stayed in Mount Airy shelter for 3 months. Met a guy that helped run a homeless shelter in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Stayed there for 6 months. There they allow you to work. So I found a job in downtown Cincinnati. They paid commission, selling jewelry.
Wow.
Worked there, and this will all be in the book too. But which I'm not sure when it's coming out. But you'll probably be able to get it on Amazon and everywhere else too. But
Sure.
There you go.
but yeah, long story short, while I was in the shelter, which is, it's hard to believe, but when I was in the Mount Airy shelter, I met a guy that ended up killing somebody. Wow. And went to prison for that. Was actually
He went to prison for that.
Yes. Well, he
Okay.
was actually on the run for 3 months. I ended up turning him in, and upon his arrest and conviction, the family had given out a $10,000 reward.
Wow.
And after he got convicted, the lawyer called me and said, can you come down and pick up your check? I said, I'm on my way.
Wow.
So, yeah. But if I hadn't been in the shelter, hadn't run into him, would not have known anything about him.
Wow.
So, I was actually on my way to Kmart in Kentucky to get a window fan when I saw him and called the police, and they got him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that initially gave you a startup to go into the business that you're
Well, I
in?
was already doing the business, and I was finding materials wherever I could, Salvation Army, Goodwill, those kind of places, and I would repurpose them into other jewelry. So I've always done that. And by people buying my designs helped me to buy more materials and nicer materials. I could actually order stuff online that wasn't from Salvation Army or Goodwill. I was actually,
Wow.
I could buy new stuff. And I did that for a while, and then I started doing the inner tube stuff, the bicycle inner tube stuff. And that is sort of taken
And the
off.
bicycle inner tube is a new form of necklace that you've personally created.
Yes.
Okay. And I wanted people, because we know what it is, but
Right.
unfortunately my viewers do not.
Right.
You have an extensive line of, and as the piece that you're wearing now,
Yes.
as well as the piece Miss Mary Bar Rose is wearing.
Yes.
That's made up. You want to describe those pieces as you continue?
Yeah, so these are just strips of the inner tubes that I've cut and strung up. Then I've also cut the squares and put, beads in between. But it's actually a really long necklace, as you can see. So you can wear it several different ways.
Wow.
I've got it sort of wrapped. One end is longer than the other. So, yeah, you can do multiple things
Wow.
with inner tubes.
Wow. And from my understanding, there's been several prominent people who have purchased and showcased your particular jewelry, correct?
Yes.
and it has appeared in several prominent magazines, international magazines.
Yes. Sanelli, who is an African, she used to live in South Africa. She's a world famous photographer. She's bought 9 pieces of my jewelry and then some clothing that I've designed. And initially, her photographs were selling anywhere from, say, $500 to $1,000. A friend of mine went to an exhibit in San Francisco, and the average that she sells her photographs now for are anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 for one photograph.
Wow.
And actually, one of the photographs that she's taken, she's got 2 of my necklaces on her head.
Wow.
And 2 necklaces around her neck.
Wow.
Kalila Birdsong is another artist that has actually bought 4 of my pieces. And she used to be the personal assistant for Tyler Perry. She's now in charge of, I believe, new talent for Tyler Perry. And is an artist. And she actually lives in Maui now and flies back and forth to Atlanta to assist him with his production company in movies and whatnot. So
Wow. Wow.
she's bought 4 pieces from me, which is nice.
Wow. I know, and I think what's so very, very interesting is that your creations are so unique. In a lot of cases, people duplicate what's already out there. Give us a little bit, I mean, I guess the reason I'm going down this alley is because I recognize that each individual has gifts. And when we are able to tap into those gifts, that's when the excitement comes out, the excellence comes out, the originality comes out, and it's like something that no one else has ever seen before. And people are like, who is that? Where did that come from? And I'm interested to get it out to my viewers how you tapped into that to be able to be a fashion designer in clothing, jewelry designer. These are just 2 to name a few, but we really could expound quite extensively on your plethora of things that you do.
Well, one of the things that, and it's, I do one-of-a-kind pieces because when I was buying jewelry from other designers, I never wanted to look like anybody else. And a lot of stuff out there was either out of my price range, the one-of-a-kind stuff, or it looked like everybody else's stuff.
Sure.
And I didn't want to go to an event or just to be out and see somebody else wearing something that I had on. So that's part of why I started designing stuff for myself.
Sure.
Because I knew that I could take materials and turn them into something that no one else had seen before.
Wow. Wow.
And not that I don't get inspiration from other designers and other artists, but I never try to duplicate anything that they've done because I want to put my spin on it and my creation and
right, and that's one of the things that is so exciting. And I guess the reason I'm bringing out this point because what I found most interesting about you, Damon, is that you traditionally worked in urban business, a typical business for a company, going 9 to 5 and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you transition from that into saying, I'm going to do my own thing.
Right.
And to take that and put that perfection in it to the point of understanding I am marketable.
Yes.
What's in me is marketable. And when people come to see it and things like that is amazing. And I feel that there's someone else looking that may not be jewelry, but has the same potential that you have, but is afraid to make that initial step.
Right.
And I guess I'm more or less trying to get you to explain or just put out there what happened that you just made up my mind. I'm doing these gifts in me.
Well, I've always done me, but in the corporate world, you sort of have to wear a uniform, especially when you're working for someone else. You have to sort of abide by their guidelines and what their perception of what is acceptable in the business world. I've worked retail for 25, almost 30 years, and whether it be for Ralph Lauren, whether it be for Polo, whether it be for a big box store, you sort of have to follow their guidelines on what the attire is. And on my off days, I would wear what I wanted to wear. But again, before I started designing clothing, I had to make a selection from what was out there in the world already. And when I decided I got tired of and bored of what was out there and didn't find what I wanted, I said, well, same thing with the jewelry. I can create what I want, but I had to learn the sewing skills to do that. Jewelry is one thing, sewing is a whole different thing. And that was out of my wheelhouse initially. And then I guess 7 years ago, when I first did UC's fashion show, I wanted to do jewelry and clothing. So I'd done jewelry for a while. So I said, well, I need help doing the clothing. I don't know how to sew, even though I have a sewing machine. There's been no one to instruct me on how to use it and how to do certain things. So I actually took a class at the Downtown Public Library on getting to know the sewing machine. And once that was shown to me how to use a sewing machine, I was off and running.
Yeah, it's really on there.
Yeah, so, and initially I was using upholstery fabric that I got from Mills Inn, which is now closed, which used to be on 7th Street. It was mostly upholstery fabric. But he gave me a bunch of fabric, and I said, I'm just going to use what I have.
Wow.
So my first fashion show at UC was a lot of out of upholstery fabric. And then and people enjoyed what I made and wanted to purchase what I made, which encouraged me to even make even more stuff.
I was about to bust out laughing because I had this vision of somebody being at the show, and even though your piece is unique, that's my grandmother's couch right there. My dad had a chair that was made out of that. So to be able to use it and be creative, because I know you do different bags, different hats, different types of array of tops and things like that, is exciting. But I just thought that'd be funny, say that. There's my mother's couch walking down the street.
Right. Well, and it's funny because, friends give me material, and my friends have given me curtains that were in, their grandmother's or mother's house.
And you make it work.
And I make garments out of it.
Wow.
Or if you give me a shower curtain, I'll make a pair of pants out of it. So it's like, it's almost like Gone with the Wind.
And here is what, going with the wind.
Well, Going with the Wind. She said, I saw it in the window, and now she's got a curtain rod.
The Carol Burnett.
Yes.
Yeah, the little sitcom thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you, one of the things that I was amazed at, first of all, I want to get this out, and then I want to talk about where you're located. The name of your company is Nomad, the name of the company, correct?
3176.
3176?
Yes.
Nomad 3176, that's the name of the company?
Yes.
Thank you. So Nomad 3176. And one of the things that I have to say that I was most impressive with, Damon, was when I was at one of you're in Pendleton, the Art Center downtown and over the Rhine.
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, you're on the first floor.
Yes, Studio 107.
It's very easy to find you.
Yes.
But what I was most impressed with was you had made a fashion vest out of old ties.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It looks so good how you constructed the whole vest and the different patterns and how it hung and how you did this. Who would have thought of you have a pair of jeans and just a nice blouse or shirt or whatever, and that vest was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal. So to come up with those kind of ideas is what you get in what I call gifts and talents that people have, because no one else is going to think like that.
Right.
Or as Sally just said, the 10 ways, it's because it's simple.
Right.
Seeing the need that this needs to be done and putting out there for people, which is so important that folks have to tap into their own individual gifts, knowing it is marketable.
Yes.
And it is definitely needed. So very quickly, again, everybody, this is Mr. Damon Butler. He is the owner of Nomad
3176.
3176. Nomad 3176. He exhibits at Pendleton and downtown and over the Rhine.
1310 Pendleton Avenue.
1310 Pendleton Avenue. And you guys could stop by and see a lot of the original creations what they do. He teaches. You had a class the other day, students from
The Art Academy.
the Art
Came forward,
Academy.
yeah.
So he helps young people to learn how to be an independent entrepreneur and to be creative. I think one of the things that's about this particular panel here is that rather than people getting locked in a box, to show the freedom to be individual expresses the maximum in diversity. You know, some may like green, some may like red, some may like purple or something. But when you have all these different things, like a good meal,
Yes.
you know, you put all these different components together, what a fantastic time everybody's gonna have. Thank you, Mr. Butler. Certainly appreciate you talking.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna move to my third guest, another phenomenal person. The reason I invited her, because traditionally there's a lot of what we consider traditional art, and we see it everywhere. I'm not calling any particular famous artist, but I mean, it's beautiful in itself. But what I found about this particular artist is the uniqueness of an original presentation. I own several pieces of her work, and every time it is displayed in my home, it has always gotten a wonderful response of a, it's always that way. And I tell her all the time, because she does it, she may not see what we see, but when we go to her different exhibits and shows and things, we're just looking for hours, just staring at these original creations. I do apologize, we do not have any of the original art here. We'll do it in the future. But I wanted to introduce you to her first. And I want to just slide over to your left and my right and say hello again. And I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. And that is Miss Mary Barr Rhodes. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Henry.
How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, we know you're an artist. Tell us, who is Mary Barr Rhodes?
Who is Mary Barr Rhodes? I am an abstract expressionist, mixed media painter.
Wow.
And you say, well, what does that mean?
Wait a minute, just for the folks that's confused, let's say it again so they'll be more confused.
An abstract expressionist, mixed media painter.
Wow.
And so you go, well, what does that really mean? Well, an abstract expressionist was an art movement actually back in the late 40s, early 50s, and it was called the New York School, and it was a major movement. It was really when the power of art moved from Europe to America, and that became central. And it's bold and expressive, just like being an American is. So my work is abstract, it is expressive. And then I do mixed media. So I do acrylics, which is a pretty traditional media, but in that I also use real gold, silver, copper, and bronze in a granulated formula so that it can be mixed with medium so that it is applied onto the canvas or whatever it is I'm putting it onto. So that's one of the differences. And now I'm using a lot of glass in my work.
Which is absolutely beautiful.
I really have enjoyed moving, you know, because I did the acrylic, then I did the metallics, and now it's a combination of all of that.
Wow, wow.
And the beautiful part about the glass is the light energy that resonates from the pieces, in that it is the light itself that emanates and connects with the viewer. So it's light resonance. And, you know, for centuries we have known that stained glass brings that sense of divinity to an experience. So that's what I'm trying to do, is bring that moment of understanding, the connection to the divine through the glass resonance.
Wow. In this infusion of these different forms of expression, you use natural items. I'm not seeing the wood yet, but you use stone, you use glass, you use precious stones, opals and things like that. Give us a little bit of how you're pulling all this together. For me, it's like amazing because it's a journey. I've always said to people when I've looked at your art, Ms. Barrows, that it's a journey because there'll be other people in the studio exhibiting. People will stop at your paintings or artwork and they'll stare for 5, 10, 15 minutes, which is not unusual for you, but it's different for other artists. Reason being, when they look at your work, they'll see a multitude of things within it. And so the journey is, what else can I find in there? I see a dragon. You see the dragon? Oh, I see the dragon. You know, there is Mickey Mouse. There's no Mickey Mouse in there. Yes, is it? That is Mickey Mouse. So it's a journey, and it is always amazing to figure out, and maybe you're not aware, in a deliberate attempt to do it. I mean, just expound on that whole, how you put you into this artwork.
Well, it is about my own personal self-expression. Now, but I love to invite people to see in it what they see. I love that about abstract work, is that it is up to the individual interpretation. Because when an artist creates a piece, what we're hoping to create is a dialogue with the viewer. And that, so when somebody all of a sudden goes, oh wow, or they're standing there for 15 minutes, I know that they're getting me. They understand me. So that's an important connection.
And that's like what Sally was saying. You smile, even though you're physically smiling, now you're smiling through your art.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
which is making people have a good day or make them smile as well. So it's almost like a personal encounter.
Yes, yes. It is experiential.
Wow, how powerful.
And I'm going to tell a little story because it's just happened today.
Okay.
I have a friend who, she's from San Diego, but she used to live in Hawaii, and she recently went back to Hawaii. And while she was there, she had the opportunity to go into what is referred to as a blue room. I didn't even know these blue rooms existed.
Well, you're introducing something to me as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So it's so exciting because these gentlemen from Italy have realized that light resonance, exactly what I'm doing, is actually healing, which I know because it's based on like chakra energy and frequencies. But they've established these blue rooms because blue light is healing. So when you walk into this environment, you're surrounded with all this blue light that's refracted from mirrors. Now, I'm not using, well, I have used mirrors some, but mine is really from creating little pockets of light that settle in between the pieces of glass. And where those little pockets form, that's where the light emanates outward.
Wow.
So I was so thrilled to talk with someone who really understood what I'm doing. So it was very exciting.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
You have exhibited all around the world.
I have exhibited around a lot of different places. I have work in
Wow.
South America, Europe, all over the nation, different places.
How awesome. And sold pieces as well.
Oh,
and,
yes.
and I personally own a piece. Thank you, by the way, everybody. You have to work 4 or 5 jobs, but you know, it was definitely worth it. When you talk to young people, and I know in the past you have been an instructor.
Yes.
And you do recognize that by capitalizing on this inner thing, what we're talking about, that it can be quite beneficial financially as well as spiritually. I mean, how do you approach this? Because I'm seeing, I keep bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, because I feel that there is a lack of focus of how to develop young people, whether they're successful and happy at what they're doing. We can always give them what we'd like for them to do, but is that really what they're supposed to? Is that really what their purpose is? And I've always said, something that you're destined to do, as Mr. Butler just said, you love it. as what you guys do, you love it.
Absolutely.
You know, how do we tap into that in the young folks? Because remember back in the day, they would say, oh, you're not going to make much money being a musician. You get a daytime job. And I don't have a problem having a backup. Don't get me wrong, I'm a musician. I don't have a problem having a backup. But one of the things I can say, I have been very, very successful in vocal as far as being a singer. Very, very successful. You know, you might hear me on a CD, you don't know it's me, but I do, and every time I get one of those nice little residual things, I love it, you know. So
Right.
how do we tap into that?
Well, I think,
And by the way, you're a grandmother too, even though you
Yes.
don't look like it.
yeah, I am. Yes, I think it really is part of who we are. And I have taught everything from kindergarten to graduate level. And right now, I'm teaching through that I have a couple of assistants that come and work with me, which is a very intimate relationship, a working relationship. But I do think it's more than that. As an artist, it's a lifestyle.
Wow.
And you have to live it day in and day out.
Wow.
And show people that we are willing to do the work. We have the courage to stay in it.
Wow.
And for years, I had a daytime job.
Wow.
I had my own design firm.
Wow.
But now, there are many a days when I think, oh my goodness, I could have been doing this all along.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I could have done this all along.
Yeah.
I love being able to go to my studio
Wow.
and to create every day.
And we're going to talk about where your studio is, because if someone wants to come and view your artwork, please continue, but let's not forget to tell them where you're located in case they want to stop by, as well as your, I think you have a website, correct?
I do.
We're going to give them your website so they can also look on that as well, because I mean, the stuff is just phenomenal. So please forgive me for interrupting. Please continue.
Well, so I'm saying that because I think it's up to each of us to establish who we are and to live it day in and day out so that people will see that this is possible. You can do this. If this is what you want to do, do it.
Wow.
And believe in it. Because if you don't believe it, no one will.
Sure, sure, sure.
And, you know, it took me forever to learn that lesson. So I hope they learn it sooner and they're out there. Because when we are uniquely ourselves,
Yes.
and I have a signature style that people recognize, we are saying, you know, that it's okay to be who we are.
Yeah.
We're authentic individuals, and that is our difference in the world.
Wow.
And that we encourage others to be who they are. Just who they are every day. And find out why are they here on this earth?
Wow. Do we take up a collection now or later? and that's
Am I preaching?
no, you're testifying.
Yeah.
Panel, don't we feel, well, do you feel there is a lack of authenticity today?
Yeah.
You know, feel people are not comfortable, as you said, know who you are. When you look at Damon, you know, you may think he's, you know, uniquely different, or I said for many years, I said he's weird. And then someone said, no, he said he's unique.
Yeah.
And then when I really began to look at it, why should he have to be like everyone else?
Absolutely. And we don't all want to be the same person. That'd be boring.
Nope.
Well, my thing is that if God can create every snowflake to be different,
Yeah.
why would we want to be like someone else?
Wow.
You know,
We're
Collection
the only
plates.
person we can be.
we're the best at who we are.
Yep.
And we
Collection.
are the best at who we are.
Yes.
Wow.
When we're really truly being ourselves, that's when we are at our best.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Do you feel that this has been lost since we have not as much art and cultural things like this in our school systems?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, because
Let's talk
children
about
are
it.
not, well, children are not taught to think critically
Okay.
and to be able to make decisions, discern decisions around beauty, for instance.
Sure.
You know, they don't even know what beauty is. And so it's hard for them to discern when there's no art appreciation or there's no mindfulness taught through the individual artistic experience.
I think a lot of times in schools too, that if you are different, if you don't fit the norm, and I think we create our own norm, but if you don't fit in with everybody else, then you're bullied, you're chastised, you're sort of beaten into submission to be like everyone else. And I think even in neighborhoods, in your environment, you can also have that beaten into you, you know, because if you don't walk the same path as, you know, your neighbor, then, you know, you're criticized, you're, you know, ridiculed. And if you're not strong enough to walk through that battlefield every day and have those comments made about you, then you'll conform. You'll fit into what everybody else thinks you should be, and you'll deny the fact of who you are for the sake of getting along or not getting bullied or not getting. And my thing is that if a child is being bullied, let's talk about the bully and not about the person.
Right.
Not change the person that's being bullied.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe we should, you know, direct our attention to the person that feels it necessary to beat up the person that doesn't look like them. Because I think in their heart and in their subconscious, they probably want to be someone other than themselves. And they're afraid.
The person they want to beat up.
Exactly.
Right.
And they're afraid that they don't have enough courage or enough support to walk their own path.
Wow.
We're not taught that it's okay to be an individual in a positive way, not like as a selfish kind of way,
Sure.
but as part of the collective in that. There's something about living into what I call, well, I don't call it, but a lot of people call your true self. To being in that place has a created being that we've lost. And I think the four of us have, from what I've learned of you, have heard from you, have gotten to the place where we can claim that. And that is maybe is part of the gift of art.
It is, absolutely.
Because there's different pieces. One, we've stopped giving permission to learn to be creative. That's the other part of the appreciation piece.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Individual creativity. And the other thing we've forgotten, and I was thinking of that when Mary was talking, is that no art, I mean, visual arts, writing, music, is complete until it's shared.
Wow.
And so everybody that's listening, you have a crucial role in what we're doing as those of us that work at it.
Wow.
I mean, it's a partnership.
And when you said that, I thought about even with art in general, dance.
Dance too, yes.
There is
Absolutely.
ballet,
Yep.
then there is modern art dancing, there is contemporary dance. You have what was the Irish thing that was out? Celtic dancing. Look at the multitude of expression. Even though all of it's dance, how diverse it is,
Absolutely.
you know, to be able to say, well, I'm going to the ballet today, but I'm going to see the Celtic dance, or what was Shen Yang Yun? What was the cultural dances, and right there, how the world is inundated with so many different forms of expression through dance.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, wow. I don't want to keep saying this, but I feel that there's such a need for us to understand it's okay to be individual.
Yes.
You don't have to be collective. I mean, as far as who you are, collective in society, yes, because we don't want you to be so separative, but people have a problem being themselves. If you like this, or you have an expression that I want to create this, some of the best minds in the world that ever existed were folks who had an individual idea that no one else ever had.
Yes.
And can I add one more thing about
Yes.
this? Because what we share as a group here today is our own individual creativity. And in the schools, problem solving is often not taught now. Because when you create music, you're creating, and that is solving a problem. Artists, you know, whatever form it is you have the ability
Sure.
to solve a problem.
Wow.
And that is being taken out of the school system.
Wow.
And to me, that is a way of dumbing down our society.
Wow.
So I think we need the skills of thinking. It's
Wow.
not just about, doing a painting or doing a piece of jewelry or writing or music. It's about the individual thinking, the creative concept and thinking that's behind all of that.
Wow, wow. You mentioned something as well as Devon mentioned something. And my question to the three of you is, are you ever too old?
Nope,
No.
never too old.
Well,
Never too old.
I hear someone say, well, when I was younger, I could have done something. Tell us why they're never too old.
So all of them are younger than I am that say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
some
hear
of
people
them
that are younger than you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
All the time.
And I heard you say that when you were saying that you wish you knew back then that, and you
my
said, I
goodness.
could have done this
All along.
all along.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not trying to get your age out there, but I'm simply saying, let's let these folks know why they should, no matter what age it is, why they should just fall into those heart things and those personal creative things that they have in them.
I've discovered that if you have conversations with people, they get that they can do it now. It's like all they need is one of us, one of you, to give them permission to, one, be themselves, and two, to pursue where their heart's taking them.
Wow.
But I also think that it's, for me, I think God gives you the knowledge that you need
Wow.
when you need it. Because if he would have given me what he's given me at 53, back when I was 23, my head would have exploded. Because
Wow.
there's just too much knowledge that's here now
Sure.
that I couldn't have handled back then. So I think when the time is right for that knowledge to be manifested, or however you believe that, then that's the right time.
Wow.
So if you're, 25 or 105, I think when you get it, you get it. And that's a blessing.
Wow.
Because a lot of people don't get it.
And when you get it, it's the right time.
It's always the right
It's the
time.
right time.
Always the right time.
There was a statement that said there is a property. It's all around the world that is the most valuable property in the world. And the lecturer asked, well, where is this property at? And people said, well, I don't know. And so the question was the graveyard. Because within the graveyard are all the dead visions and the dreams and the ideas that never came to reality.
Yes.
Wow, how powerful. Where are you? Let's tell everybody. I didn't get a chance, and I have to tell everybody where you are on your website, real quick.
Okay, I'm at the Pendleton Arts Center.
Pendleton Arts Center.
7th floor, Studio 712. My website is marybarroads.com.
Spell
That's
that for
MaryBarrhodes.com.
One more time.
MaryBarrhodes.com.
MaryBarroads.com. So you guys you're in Pendleton, you're coming up pretty soon. You're going to come back when the book comes out and let everybody know when it's going to be available at Amazon, on Amazon, or
You can
whatever.
order Joseph Beth when it's out.
At Joseph Beth when it's out. I want to thank everybody today for coming to express this freedom of expression and originality. I think it's so important for all of the people to understand you have something to contribute. Everyone has something to contribute. Certainly you can tell by the diverse folks that are here today that you have as much to give as they do. So I thank you so much for watching the program. I look forward to talking to you next time. But in the meantime, keep it talking. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Certainly do.
Talk about the things that mean so much to you and me.